Hi, I'm Gary Hamel, professor at the London Business School and director of the Management Lab. Welcome to my video blog, Gary Tells You Why. Today, I want to talk about why your organization isn't as innovative as it is efficient. The goal today is to make innovation a deeply embedded capability. That means making innovation instinctive for every individual and intrinsic to the organization itself. So there's both an individual and an institutional component to making innovation a true core competence. You have to help individuals be more innovative, and you have to make sure they're working in an institutional environment that supports innovation. Now, this is a big task, but I want to share an example or two of organizations that have actually done this. Let me start with maybe an unlikely story. This is a story of Whirlpool, the US-based maker of domestic appliances. Whirlpool is based in the southwest corner of Michigan. And about a decade or so ago, I was having lunch with their chairman at the time, Dave Whitwam, and this is kind of a quick synopsis of our conversation. He says, Gary, this business sucks. If you walk into a Lowe's or a Best Buy, you see the sea of white appliances. They all look pretty much the same. We know that our customers would rather shop for tires than a new washing machine, so very little differentiation. We have these powerful channel partners who screw down our margins. It's just not a fun business. And by the way, we've done everything, he said, that the consultants have told us to do. We've consolidated our manufacturing platforms around the world. We've bought some of our competitors. We've done total quality management and Six Sigma and Lean Six Sigma. But still the business sucks. So what do we do? Well, somewhere during that conversation that day, we started debating whether we could make innovation everyone's job every day at Whirlpool. And Dave asked me, Gary, has any company to your knowledge ever done this? And I said, I don't think so. He said, well, let's go try. By the way, that's what it takes to get started on this journey. You've got to have some guts to do this. But what Whirlpool would do over the next few years is they would look at every single management process in the company, and they would retune it, fine-tune it so it was innovation friendly. It facilitated innovation rather than frustrated it. Well, let me just start with a quick summary of some of the results. So they changed the design language of appliances, since copied by LG and others, but they changed the design language. They made the product much more sleek, much more colorful. Before this innovation, if you went in to replace, let's say, a dryer, there was only a 10% chance that you'd replace the companion washing machine and for laundry. Well, they changed that from 10% to 90%. That's a big economic uplift. They took other products in their KitchenAid brand that were kind of pedestrian, like waffle makers, and sexed them up and made them beautiful and glamorous for kind of high-end luxury kitchens. In fact, they invented a whole new product category, garage organizing. This came out of a team. We challenged them with the question, which customers don't you reach at Whirlpool? And they realized that most of their customers, the final decision maker, were women who are deciding what goes into the kitchen or the laundry room. So we said, well, what about men? Can you sell anything to them? And where do men have any discretionary authority in the home? Well, after going out, visiting homes, doing some research, they came back and said, men have actually quite a bit of influence in the garage. But by the way, they're being asked to clean up the garage. Well, out of that came a new business called Gladiator Garage Works. Beautiful organizing system to make your garage all neat and tidy and so on. So a lot of innovation has come out of the last decade at Whirlpool. The company has dramatically outperformed the Dow Jones Industrial Average. But behind that, as I said, was a systematic effort to make innovation a core competence. So what were some of the components of that effort? As an example, Whirlpool ultimately trained more than 20,000 people as business innovators. They taught them how to think like entrepreneurs and innovators. They created more than 1,000 innovation black belts spread out through the organization who could recognize emerging ideas and go in and mentor the individuals that were working or passionate about those ideas. They made innovation the single largest component of long-term executive compensation, recognizing that that's really what drives share price. They changed their product development, the product pipeline process, so the only products that could get to market were products that had new to the world innovation. perhaps most critically, they set aside every year a significant share of their capital budget to projects that met a very demanding test of being truly innovative. So it wasn't about creating more money for innovation, slush funds, and so on. It was about saying to all of their divisional leaders, if you don't bring us projects that meet a very demanding test of being innovative, we're simply going to take your funding away. That got people's attention. So working process by process, they said, how do we re-engineer this so it will support innovation across our organization? Let me give you a simple analogy. Over the last several years, most companies around the world have worked to systematically re-engineer their operating model for efficiency. So re-engineering back office, supply chain, logistics, customer support to make it, more efficient and more speedy. What Whirlpool did was they re-engineered their management model for innovation. But it was an effort that was just as systematic and thoughtful. In fact, at the outset, Dave Whitmore said, this will be my first priority for the next 5 years, because it takes a while to make innovation a deep organizational capability. So if you want to make innovation a real capability, there's a lot of levers that you have to press to do this. Let me just talk about a few of them briefly. First is leadership. You need consistent messaging from your leaders around innovation as a key priority. You need to explicitly cultivate pro-leadership behaviors. You need a 360-degree process that is asking, does my leader support experimentation? Are they open to breakthrough ideas? Are they great mentors for innovation projects? And then you also have to ensure that your leaders are investing personally in learning from the fringe, out there where technology is changing, lifestyle is changing, but are they getting exposed to innovation inputs that will help them be more receptive to the ideas that they get internally? Second is the investment in skills and tools, making innovation curricula available to every employee around the world, developing that cadre of innovation black belts, and having innovation training for all new hires. It means creating some specialized roles and structures, taking people in every function, in HR and finance and planning and so on, and making somebody there responsible for ensuring that that particular process is innovation friendly. It means setting up an innovation insights team that is drawing on customer and market insights from across the whole organization and then making that available to innovators everywhere. It also may mean creating a dedicated rapid prototyping team that can help individuals across the organization bring their ideas forward and turn them very quickly into prototypes. There's also a resourcing commitment. We have to look at our capital budgeting process and perhaps make it more peer-based, more non-hierarchical so that breakthrough ideas actually get funded. It means creating some slack in the organization, some formally sanctioned innovation time for all employees. Maybe it's just a few hours a week, but where they know they have time to work on new ideas. It may also mean forming partnerships with external venture capital companies that can provide some early stage funding as well. It means, as I've argued, looking at every process you have and making that innovation friendly, looking at talent acquisition. Are we screening for creativity early in our hiring process? In promotion, are we emphasizing in our promotion criteria people who have innovation accomplishments to their credit? And in portfolio management, ensuring that those nascent ideas are regularly reviewed and are getting the sunlight of senior executive attention that helps those new ideas grow up out of the ground. It means creating the right sort of metrics and linking those back to compensation. Metrics around the number and quality of ideas developed, per unit, per period of time. Measuring the percentage of OPEX and CAPEX that goes into truly new ideas, and the percentage of revenues that comes every year from new products and new services that have been just recently launched. It also may mean creating some innovation platforms where you can crowdsource innovation challenges in the organization, where you can harvest and share innovation insights and co-develop with customers around the world. And then importantly, it means also spending time reinforcing innovation values, getting the message out that innovation can come from anyone, anywhere, that speed is better than perfection, that there will be more failures than successes, so we need everybody's ideas in the innovation pipeline. Now, this is hard work and it's a systematic effort, but I can tell you from years of experience that it pays off. It can create hundreds of millions and billions of dollars of new market value. And today we can do this kind of capability building faster than ever before. We've been working over the last year or so with Adidas, the German sporting goods company, in North America, with Adidas North America, to build an innovation capability there. And it is paying off in spades. Adidas today is out-innovating, outperforming competitors like Under Armour and Nike. But it started by training people how to think like innovators, giving them an online curriculum. And in a period of just a few weeks, we upskilled several thousand people to think like business innovators. Then we went back to that same group of individuals and we said, think about what influences you every day, your job. What are the things that are getting in the way of innovation? It could be you don't have time. It could be you have a boss that doesn't care. It could be you don't have resources. And we asked individuals across Adidas North America, tell us, how would you hack your existing management processes so they were more innovation friendly? And over a few weeks, we got more than 900 suggested hacks. Here's what I would do if you really want my company to be more innovative. We had peers review all those hacks. We had more than 10,000 reviews of those ideas. The 20 or so that rose to the surface have now been put into action, and the company's experimenting with those. And this was all done in basically 1 year. What took Whirlpool 5 years, Adidas North America has done in about a year. But however you do it, you have to start. And you have to be as committed to re-engineering your organization for innovation as you have been for re-engineering it for speed and for agility. So innovation is not something that happens here and there by accident. It happens only when you take that kind of systematic approach to making innovation everyone's job every day. And the payoff, the best part of it, it's not what happens to margins or the top line or the bottom line. It's the chance that every associate has to make a difference. I remember at Whirlpool seeing an African-American woman who'd worked there for several decades, worked on the assembly line, nearing the end of her career, deeply involved in the innovation process, creating an idea that her peers loved, seeing that get to market. That woman in all of her career had never had the chance before to use those creative gifts. That's the most important reason you work systematically to make innovation a core competence.